So no matter how good a system is, it only takes a decade for most people to discover how to counter it. What you're pulling, see the puño is right on the jugular. See, like that. See, you're pulling it like that. So when you knee it, you push the head through. See, you capture. See how I'm catching this arm here? See, you can capture the other arm like this. He knows what I'm going to do. What I'm doing, Joe. That's the thing. See, you can put it many different variations that you can do, right? And you will gravitate. This is what I found. Like in shoot wrestling, for when we pass a test, we're supposed to know pretty close to 158 locks on the ground. That's it. To be a shooter, you have to know 158 locks. In shoot, I think I picked up about 300. I think the last count was like 379. But you don't need that many locks. All you need is maybe like 12 that you can, maybe 3 for the leg, 3 for the arm, 3 for the neck and arm leg combination. If you have 12, usually you learn them really well. See, my belief now is that not to know a lot of locks, but to know maybe 7 locks, 12 locks, but to know 100 ways to get into them. That's the key. Right? It's just like, see, this is just like chess. And let me tell you what my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu teacher told me. He says, this is like a chess game. Everybody knows how to move the pieces. You know how the pawn moves, so you have the same secrets. You know how the bishop moves, so you have to know the same thing. You know how the queen moves, you know how the castle moves, you know how to do the opening games, you know how to do the closing games. So what makes the difference? You're setting up 2 or 3 movements. Why Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is so good, the better ones are already computing 3 or 4 or 5 movements ahead. See, in the beginning, we're only computing 1 movement ahead. It's like boxing. The novice boxer just looking for just 1 shot so the guy will go. But the sophisticated, he's learning how to set up by blitz. He's learning how to set up by faking. So once he gets that, then you play your game. You know how to set up, and that's what makes them so good, because they know how to set up. See, everybody had lock. You know why I have a great admiration for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? Is because everybody has locking. Jiu-Jitsu had that. The Japanese Jiu-Jitsu had that. The Nihon Jiu-Jitsu had that. I learned it from my Jiu-Jitsu. I learned it from my uncle. I learned it from my Japanese Jiu-Jitsu instructor. See, now what they did that nobody else did is they contested it. They started to wrestle with it. In our days, it was considered too dangerous to wrestle with those locks. Once we locked, that's it. There was no trying to get out of it because it was considered dangerous. In fact, unless you were shodan, you were not allowed to put the leg locks. You were not allowed to put the arm locks. You had to at least be shodan. I think now a little bit higher, but even in judo, in some judo places, they won't let you do the locking on the ground, the niiwazas on the ground. And what the Brazilians did, they just started competing. And then they found out, oh, it's not so dangerous after all, and that's how they got so efficient, because the locks have been in the United States already. That's what made them different. And plus the fact, they had that funny position. You ask any Greek guard position, see, this position is called overturn position. It's called overturn position in shoot wrestling. Kosen Judo has this, Jiu-Jitsu has this, but nobody has developed it like the Brazilians. I mean, it's a tight guard, a loose guard, they really developed it. Right? And most wrestlers, they have a wrestling background and say, why the hell would you want to be on your back anyway? Why would you want to be there? See, that was the first thing. See, and then they developed the whole game, because that game was on the thought that you drive it, and that's a fact. Now they can counter it, but it's taken them 10 years to learn how to counter it. You think about that. See, just like Muay Thai when it first came to the country, that one kick to here, people say, yeah, we can counter it. We go and go, oh man, it's still getting there. So it takes sometimes a decade to learn how to solve it. So no matter how good a system is, it only takes a decade for most people to discover how to counter it. And then all you have to do is get a very talented person, drill and train them. Because I believe this. Like one of the most technical persons I ever met was Lacosta. He says 80% will be conditioning, 20% will be technique. And this is probably one of the most sophisticated martial arts, with blade, dagger, empty hand. Unbelievable human being too. But he said 80%. And it was so funny. Bruce Lee said 60% on conditioning, 40% on technical. Higa Machado, 70% on conditioning, 30% technique. It would cost 80. And you think about it. And I just asked him, well, why would it be 20%? He says, this guy's swinging the blade at you, or throwing the bayonet at you. He says, you get tired after 30 minutes of the skirmish, and you can hear the sword still clashing, and people screaming, and people yelling and crying. He says, and you're tired, and you swing, so you expend so much energy. Your hand starts to sweat, you know, and this thing, whatever you're using, the bow or whatever, down, whatever you're using your hand, becomes so heavy. You start swinging your forearms on the pump. He says, and if we didn't have the wind, if we didn't have the condition, if we didn't have the legs, you wouldn't think there's a lot of leg involved, then you couldn't survive. So he said, it's conditioning, because he knew the same strikes as you. So that's the guy that faster reflex, the guy that sets it up. But that's basically what it is, the condition. So all this here, if you're tired, you can't do it. Take the strongest guy, I don't care if he bench press 400 pounds. Put him on his last set. He's on a 5th set, and he already reached, give him a 100-pound, and it's like, he can't do it, because he's already expended his energy. So conditioning is very, very important. That's why most systems, like Edgar, they will stroke the heck out of you. You know, you still stroke, which is really good, because the thing I admire about Edgar, I remember him doing just the X. He was just doing like that, and I go, what the heck is he doing? It looked so beautiful when he did it. But I didn't recognize all of it was a number 1 and number 2, but he was so artistic, and I go, what the heck is he doing? It was just so, you know, he was just doing 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, but it was so beautiful the way he was practicing it that I couldn't recognize it was 1 and 2 because it was so efficient and done so very well. But that's because he had it down to a T. And anybody that works on any system that works it really well, it becomes so artistic. They make it look so easy. I remember Higgin, one guy coming in, he says, he's an arm bar, I'm like 1, 2, 3. This guy was I won't mention his name because he's well known. He goes, you know, so he goes,
who was it?
He just sort of sat down on the ground and he just started shaking his head because this guy's a top grade grappler. And he's like, 1 minute, he just arm bar, 1 minute, he arm bar that guy. It's like 3 arm bars in less than like 5 minutes. Because of the if you're not used to the game, it's hard to play, you know. But anyway, you got the one, we can turn around, you get the first one, you get the second one, you get the third one, right? And you take it from the Levi, okay, or the Lena cone. Okay. You know what a Lena cone is?
Yes, it goes hot.
Yeah, it's something that goes like that. It's like, it goes like that. That's why when they take the hit, it's going like that. It's kind of a throwing. Okay, any questions? You got it?
Can you do that one more time?
See the throw? They come from many different variations, so you go to the Adam's apple, see? You go here, see? So when you push it, you make sure you capture this arm here, see? So when you slap the ear and you put it here, that's 1. See, that's usually we'll take it out there. But if you want it tighter, see, you put it back here. If you want it really tight, see, you put it back here. That. Okay. Any questions? Got it? And then the other one, which is this one here, is if he comes here like that. See, you smack that and you go here, switch to here. Anytime that fails, what do you do? You go to this. Anytime that fails, see, we go to this. Anytime that fails, you just go see.
Follow the body.
Just follow the body. You just go to the nearest appropriate quincy or lock.
We're blindfolded.
Okay. Any questions? You got it? Okay, let's try it. Up to there.